So I posted a video this morning or earlier today, and it talked about the Amazon workers striking or going on strike or some sort of planned work stoppage out in San Bernardino, California, and also the update that we received about the railroad worker or the railroad union worker strike, which we're now in the 30-day cool off period. But in the video, I had brought up a point of these employees are telling Amazon, they're demanding Amazon in this particular situation, the railroads as well, these unions, but employees in general are saying that they want more money and they are upset with these companies because they've made so much money and they're able to pay their CEOs hundreds of millions of dollars. They're able to take trips into outer space and spend this money. And as the employees, they want more money. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit more in another video because today at lunch, Michelle and I were having a conversation about it. And she said that, or it was brought up that if you want more money, then be willing to do more work. So it's like, all right, well, if you want more money, if you make $15 an hour and the person and your coworkers make $15 an hour, if you are in this company or whatever it is, minimum wage is $15 an hour. That's the starting pay. That's what everybody gets. And you sit and say, you want more money. You're demanding more money. Are you willing to do twice as much work to make twice as much more money? So if you wanted to make $30 an hour, would you be willing to do 2 times more work to do that? And, some other people that I've read in comments of these videos that we're putting up, they're saying that these companies are greedy and they should just give the employees more money. But if that's true, if that's how you feel, then technically you should give your money away too. Now hear me out. So if you make $15 an hour and you want to make 30, you need to make 30, whatever, which you don't actually need to. There's ways around it that you could do things so that you could be fine off $15 an hour, but we'll get into that in a different video. But let's just say you wanted to make 30. Would you do twice the amount of work to make twice the amount of money? Or if you think that these companies should just give away whatever they got, someone replied to one of these comments about these greedy companies and all their profits. They should just hand the money over to the employees. If they actually did that, there would be a good chance that they would then lay off half of their workforce to cover doubling people's salary. And if that were to happen, if you were to get your wish, would you be willing to resign? Would you be willing to give someone else your pay so that they can make more? If companies said, hey, you know what, we will pay everybody more. You're going to do twice the amount of work and we're going to cut the workforce in half. But those that do work here will make good money, better money, more money. Are you going to offer yourself up and let someone else take your pay and you be unemployed? Or would you be the one that says, sorry, bye-bye, you got to go because I want your salary, I want your added pay put into my paycheck? So that's just a question that I had. But regardless, with that being said, a lot of people were commenting on the video saying that if you don't make enough money, if you don't like the conditions of where you work, go get another job, go work somewhere else. Even somebody commented that that in Ohio, there's a shortage of correctional officers and they're offering good pay for these positions. So, in this particular situation, would you be willing to quit your job at Amazon in California and go work as a correctional officer in Ohio? Which I'm sure the cost of living is probably lower in Ohio and you're going to make more money. So are you trying to solve a problem? Are you just complaining? Are you looking for a handout? Like, what is it really? But for some, I see people actually doing things and making plans and action to try to make more money, change their circumstance. And I was actually watching a hotshot truck driver video, and I got a few things I want to point out about this channel, this video. Actually, I reviewed one of his videos earlier this week. And the question is, because the comments on his channel, they see what he's doing and the business that he's growing. And it says, "Hello, man. I like to see that you're doing good. I sold my house too, and I'm interested in Hot Shot. I'm a CDL driver, but I don't know if I should try Hot Shot or buy a semi truck. Any recommendations, please?" And honestly, I think now would be a terrible time to consider buying a. All right, let me back that up. Maybe now is not a terrible time to buy a semi truck because people selling them are probably just going to give them away because they're of very little value. Because the trucking industry is taking a huge hit in so many different ways. Which, if you watch this channel, it's Burning Rubber Entertainment. He's talking about the rates. Now, granted, he's not driving a semi truck; he's Hot Shot. But the rates that he's fighting for, it's just he's barely making any money every week, and then it's yet to be determined if he's actually turning a profit because of how he's calculating his income. But I would say that if you have watched it, or if you're doing this, or you're putting this content out there, he's got links in his description, and they are affiliate links for some Hot Shot truck items, and one of them actually is pretty cool. It's a CDL Hot Shot bundle from Mighty Products, and it makes sense. He's got a YouTube channel, and he's a Hot Shot trucker. He's making content here. Let me show you. See if you guys can see this. So it's got parts that it's a CDL Hot Shot flatbed bundle for trailer without winch tracks. So, I mean, that's actually a pretty smart idea to put affiliate links in the description for products that would probably be needed by people watching your content. And, he's going to earn a small commission probably off the links. It makes perfect sense. But what I don't see, and if you guys are going to do this, if you're going to start these businesses and these side hustles and things like that, don't be afraid to promote yourself. I don't see his company in the description. I don't see any way to contact him. I don't see any way to hire him for a LTL load or anything. So he's doing a lot. He's getting the business going. I know he's got a lot on his plate, but that's just something that I would put out there and say that if you're going to do it to the best of your ability to maximize it and get all you can. Ain't no shame in that, and promoting yourself and building your brand. But regardless, he is trying to turn a profit running these loads on the West Coast. It seems like a losing proposition, but we'll see how it pans out. But I got a message from a truck driver, and it says, and this is why I'm saying it's like this may not be the best time to jump into it. And it says, "Kevin, as a retired truck rail driver for Schneider National, I have a lot to say on the subject, but first on AB5 laws and how they're going to kill many small-time operators running the LA harbor. I've seen 3 drivers running in a single truck, or a husband, his wife, and 2 children living in his truck full-time. These guys are doing what they had to do to make ends meet. AB5 is designed to force trucking companies to be employers, or employees, I think he means, not contractors. I worked as a contractor, but I was in a better position than most. The trucking companies lease you, the driver, a high mileage truck that sucks fuel faster than a truck stop." Oh wait, I can't finish that sentence. Anyway, then you, the driver, have to lease it back to the company. You pay all the costs, they make the profit. California is not out to help drivers or companies, just the air quality boards. Most of the LA freight is shipped in and then cross-docked to ship to Walmart, Target, and other retailers. Then the trailers are either hauled to the distribution centers, warehouses, or put on the rails to head east. Some may base on the need to be hauled by truck, most often by a rookie truck crew at sub-training wages just to get them driving at speed. So that you're up against that too. And it's all about the money. I did this for 7 years. I missed time with my children, and the only way I got extra money was to be the fastest driver in all of the LA operating area. If you want to fix these, the lease companies need to use clean trucks. I know that the drivers in the harbor are pretty much screwed, but California makes the laws, and I'm just glad that I retired and don't have to sneak around scales with overweight loads, bad brakes, or some other problem with the truck. So you got a lot up against you, in addition to some companies taking loads for a loss just to get new drivers hours. So you got to think about that. But at the end of the day, if you're in this business and you're relying on freight, there's more to it than just fighting on these boards and how much you're getting per mile. You got to think, will the freight even be available? Because I've got an article here that says that the potential logistical and operational cost of a China-Taiwan conflict could spell disaster for our supply chain. And it says half of the global container fleet passed through the Taiwan Strait this year, making it a critical waterway for global supply chains. And we all know about what's going on between China and Taiwan. And, what was in the news about Pelosi flying over there and the possible threats against her and her plane being taken out, wiped out. But I was actually speaking to someone today in the automotive industry, and they told me that they hope that there's no issue, there's no conflict between China and Taiwan, because that's where a majority of the semiconductor chips for the vehicles are coming out of that we are already short on. But at the end of the day, that's just one industry. That's just the automotive industry. It says that half of the global container fleet passed through the Taiwan Strait this year. So if we were to see a conflict, which, let's just say it's a 50% chance, and you decided to get into the hotshot trucking industry, or you wanted to go buy a semi truck and try to live this life and make this money, which I don't think there's a lot of money there to be made, on top of the mental struggle and battle that you'll have being on the road by yourself, or being stuck somewhere and you can't get a load out, or just continuously driving up and down the same path over and over again and becoming monotonous. But if you're in this position and this is what you're relying on, not to mention that we talked about the Port Baltimore, where the truck drivers were sitting idle, wasting their time. Fortunately, they weren't wasting their fuel, because I think at these ports, some of these ports, some of these distribution centers, they tell you can't run your truck. So you can't waste the fuel while you're sitting there running idle for hours waiting. But in the summertime, I don't know if I'd want to sit somewhere and just wait with no air conditioning. That would probably be pretty brutal. So in Port of Baltimore, you got truck drivers sitting here for hours with no compensation for the wasted time, as the port workers are not worried about loading the trucks. They're only worried about unloading the ships, because that's where the money's at. But even still, if that wasn't a problem, if we were to see a conflict out of Taiwan and China, and we were to see, more than likely it affect the supply chain, and half of the container freight and container fleet passes through Taiwan, what are you going to transport as a driver, as a hotshot driver, as a semi truck owner operator, as a leased driver, or anything like that? I don't think it's a move that I would make as far as where I would go today, as far as a side hustle, small business owner operator situation, which right now in most scenarios, just because you own a business, being your hotshot trucking or your owner operator semi truck or whatever, just because you own it, it doesn't actually really make you a business owner, because more than likely, if you're driving for it, then you're just kind of back down to the employee level, which is what we spoke about in previous videos about the cash flow quadrant. Employees and self-employed are on the left side, business owners and investors are on the right. And business owners and investors on the right are the ones making all the money. So if you own a hotshot trucking business or a owner operator business, but you're still an employee or self-employed and driving this truck, then you're not really taking advantage of the cash flow quadrant. And you're still bound and limited to what employees are stuck with, which is basically an hourly wage or a set price per mile or anything like that. And then if you lease on with another company, they're pretty much going to work the deal where they take most, if not all, the profit. So it just doesn't seem like a great idea, a great opportunity. Now, if you wanted to go on the business owner side and have a fleet, maybe, or if you wanted to go on the investor side and start picking up discounted semi trucks, discounted rigs, discounted vans, discounted reefer trailers that people are dumping, discounted dually diesel trucks or things like that, that may be a good move, but it's going to be an investment. And then you'll have to see how that plays out, especially with increased risks of standards and emissions and clean air acts that are going to make it harder and harder for diesel vehicles to really operate. The possible DEF issues, the diesel engine oil problems and shortages, and just diesel fuel in general with shortages and price increases and things like that. I hope I didn't give you guys way too much for this afternoon, but I wanted to get this out and share it with you. If you want to talk about it a little bit more, go in greater detail, my info's in the description. Just hit me up and we can have that conversation. But I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'm going to continue watching this Hotshot Truckers channel because he's got me interested in how the business is going, and maybe if I see something there on how it can be improved and how there is an opportunity to actually really make some money there, I want to share it with you guys. And if I do find that, I'll bring that to you in another video. So you guys take care, be safe, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I do appreciate it. I'll see you soon.